Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We've got new things today. This is the Jeff and Jeff podcast. Welcome. I am one of the hosts, David, and this is
Jeff.
Someday we'll tell you about why we named it the way we did. That said, we will jump into it here. The stories we've got for today. Kash is king. The Epstein and Diddy lists will be released. Elon offered to buy OpenAI. I know that was like a week ago, but we do this every 2 weeks. Boeing and then Salmon. Those last two, you'll have to wait around to see what we mean by that. All right, so let's get started. So, Kash is king. What's that mean? Hold on a second. I got this other thing going on here. There we go. All right. Let's see if this is actually working. Yeah, it is. Sorry. We made some changes in good ways. All right. So, Kash Patal got confirmed as the director of FBI. Do you want to listen to his little speech and talk about it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let's unmute it.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, sorry.
First and foremost,
there we go.
President Trump, and I just want to thank him. I know he's not here in the room right now.
I guess I could make this bigger.
What a ride we have been on. What a courageous warrior and leader he has been. And the faith and trust he has put in me to lead the FBI is the greatest honor that I'll ever have in my life. And to General Bondi, that sounds pretty freaking cool. Pam, you're my sister, you're my mentor, you're my friend, you're my boss, and the confidence you have placed in me, I will never violate trust. Men and women of the FBI will be led under your leadership through one standard, the Constitution. So thank you for entrusting me, Pam. Man, this is epic crazy. So obviously,
He may have been a little nervous.
You know, I'm here because of God. I'm here because of my family. And I'm here because of my friends. You're literally in this room because you made it happen. My sister, Nisha, and my nephew Aryan flew in from London just to be here. My beautiful girlfriend Alexis is here. Yes, I agree. My aunts and uncles are here. They've come from all over the country. I am living the American dream. And anyone that thinks the American dream is dead, just look right here. You're talking to a first-generation Indian kid who's about to lead the law enforcement community, the greatest nation on God's green earth. That can't happen anywhere else.
Do you want to listen to the rest of it? Okay. No.
So just what he said right off the bat there is the FBI will be led according to the Constitution. And
That is a big deal.
What a change. And the other thing that's interesting about his nomination and his confirmation is the Biden appointees, there's only a couple of senators Republican senators didn't vote for him.
Correct.
Only a couple. So it was like 96 to, voted for.
It was kind of like when Marco Rubio got put in.
It's taken a month to get him, and it was 51.
Yeah, it was 51. Who didn't vote for him? I don't remember.
It doesn't matter, but it's just insane the Republicans just go along with this. Hopefully they've learned from this, and from now on they won't go along with these idiots like this guy named Rachel Levine or Sam Brinton.
Yeah.
Look them up if you want some strange crap. And they voted for him anyway.
They did. 100% they did.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. It's the first man of color as director of the FBI. You'd think the Democrats would be happy about that.
I don't care what color he is. I don't care what his last name is. All I want is he going to clean it up? We know it's corrupt. We know the agents are corrupt. There's some agents that are corrupt. We know the leadership's corrupt. Hopefully we'll see some big changes this next week. He said he's going to start today.
Yeah, over the weekend.
Yeah.
He got confirmed, what, Friday?
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he's going to start today, and so start cleaning this up today, which will be fantastic.
It will be fantastic. So the other thing to point out with him and the appointees that Trump has done and everything he's working on currently, I think you're going to see a massive change in the midterm elections, because not only is there not going to be as much free-flowing cash from the government to NGOs to political people running for office, there's not going to be FBI and internal CIA stuff going on to try to get certain people elected. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the midterms.
Yeah, especially if he actually goes in and starts cleaning house and then goes after real criminals. Joe Biden got rid of the pedophile force in the
Task
FBI.
force.
Yeah, he got rid of it. And
'cause he is
sent
one.
him after January 6ers. And so I assume he'll put her back and we can start going after these pedophiles again in Congress, the ones that are in Congress.
Yep, I agree 100%. It would be nice to actually have someone in the FBI do something good.
Yep.
So then the second story of the day is related to the first story, because I did that and it was good, and I like put things together. We'll see. So Pam Bondi just announced that she has the Epstein list and the Diddy list on her desk to review to release.
I don't understand what has to be reviewed. They're criminals, and they went on these flights, and just release it.
It's a procedural area.
I know it is, but it's still,
Procedure.
it's one of those things that just do it.
I agree, but like, so one of the guys I follow, Maj, on Twitter, he's the head of Black Guns Matter.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He was like, so do you guys think this is going to actually happen? And I pointed out that he needs to get his people confirmed for it to happen. So
Yeah.
now that he has most of them confirmed, I think he has another 9 people,
Yeah.
something like that. Maybe not that many, but now he's got FBI, Pam Bondi, and a bunch of other people confirmed. He's got the people in the places that can actually tell the people, hey, we actually need to release these things. So that's good. So it's going to happen, and it's going to be interesting. One of the Elon's people who's looking into different databases and stuff to see where money went pointed out that you're going to be surprised at how many people took money. And my first comment was, that wouldn't be surprising to me. What would be surprising is seeing people not on the list.
Yes, I agree. That's what's going to be shocking about this list is you've got, what do you have, 500, close to 500 in the House of Representatives, and we've got 100 in the Senate. So you're going to have 400 and no, you're probably going to have 550 on the list.
Yes.
And you'll have 50 that are not. And
plus
you'll be
tons
surprised
of
who's
former
not.
presidents and senators and
Yes.
House members.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
I mean, think about it. I think I saw something in Maxwell, Epstein's cohort, has been in prison for 4 or 5 years now.
Correct.
Now, she went to prison for trafficking children.
Mm-hmm.
And yet not a single person has been arrested and imprisoned for receiving those trafficked children.
Correct.
Not a single person.
It's very weird. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be. I like chaos sometimes. Chaos is good, especially when the status quo is so bad.
Yeah, and it's going to be Republicans. It's going to be Democrats. It's going to be independents. Like I said, you'll probably have 550 of our 600 are on this list, and they all need to resign immediately. Every one of them.
The other thing I'll point out is the media is the corporate press, which is dying a slow, wheezing death, which they just die already, is going to continue to say that anytime anyone is prosecuted based on these lists or anything else that Trump does, it's political prosecution. As a reminder, just because someone gets put in jail for something they did does not make it a political prosecution. Not implementing. What am I trying to say? When you enforcing the law is not political prosecution.
Yeah.
Selectively enforcing made-up laws is political prosecution.
Well, it's like Senator Mendez,
Mendez, yeah,
who just got put in prison for taking bribes.
Yeah.
That wasn't political prosecution. He took bribes. I mean, he literally took bribes. That's
but people
illegal.
need to be prepared. That's the statements, and those are the things that the press is going to say, is that Trump and his administration are going after political opponents, when in reality, the amount of fraud and corruption and terrible things that have been done is on both sides, but also more on the Democratic side, because they felt like they could get away with it.
I think this Epstein list is going to be 50-50 down the center. I don't think there's going to be very few that are not on it.
So the people I think who aren't going to be on it are Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, and Trump and Elon.
Yeah.
That's about it.
There'll be a few more that will be, like I said, I think we'll be surprised who's not on it, because we would expect him to be on it.
Correct.
But it'll be interesting. I'm hopefully
Very much
she
so.
gets this out this week. It'll be such a bombshell. It'll rock everybody back on their heels.
So the only thing I've seen that would make me think while they're waiting is, you want to spread out your wins a little bit?
Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Spread them out.
Well, keep the chaos.
Keep the chaos, but there's just so much winning going on. You got to give people
tired
a
of
second
winning,
to take a
quote
breath
someone.
and then celebrate some more.
Yeah, you'll get tired of winning, to quote someone.
Well, I'm not yet, so he's got to keep on trying harder.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so the next one is related to that one. It came out to this week. And actually, I think it was when Kash was confirmed. Diddy's lawyer quit. Under no circumstances can I continue.
So what I expect in both of these cases is it traces right back to the CIA and blackmail. The CIA has set up everybody to blackmail him,
Oh, yeah.
and the FBI both. And it's going to trace straight back that's why they don't want this stuff released, because they've used it for blackmail to control, oh, yeah, we want our money, and get their money through Congress. And I see both of these cases that way, the same way. They're both going to go straight back to the CIA.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right. And I think cleaning up the executive branch, as Trump and Elon are doing, is going to be very helpful. There's several people who've been saying that Elon, they have the ick about Elon. They don't like him so much. I'm like, yeah, he's a little bit weird. I don't know if I agree with all his motivations, but I'm okay with people who I don't 100% agree with doing things that I do 100% agree with, and that is cleaning out the executive branch.
Just that, and Congress needs to be cleaned out. I mean, come on. The turtle resigned. Or not resigned, but he announced his retirement.
Trump broke him. You can tell. Yes, his handlers are really what's going on, but it's like Biden. So, Biden had his strong opinions.
So
when
those
he was
who don't
there.
understand that reference, Mitch McConnell.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Biden had his strong preferences. He said things, he made statements, but he wasn't there 90% of the time. I would say McConnell's there 80% of the time, or not. He's there 20% of the time versus
now.
10 Biden.
Yep.
And so he does have some sway. But I think Trump and his team broke him.
Yeah, I agree.
Put a lot of pressure on him.
And we'll see. It was amazing that he said he wasn't going to run, which is now I did read that out of Kentucky he's trying to pick his successor.
That's not how that works.
Well,
that is
does in
not
Utah.
how that works. Yeah. So
moving on.
Well, I mean, we could talk more about it if you want, but it's fun to see when people like that retire. We got Pelosi needs to retire, and I would say pretty much anyone over the age of 60 who is in the House or Senate needs to retire.
I would say anybody who's been longer than 2 terms. I don't care what their age is.
That works too. Either way, but we're going to have lots of interesting. So Elon said he's going to support candidates and stuff.
He did.
So,
and RFK Jr. and his running mate, Nicole. I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
Something with an S.
She's a billionaire as well. And she said that those who don't support this Maha movement, she will raise funds and go after them to get them primaried. And I hope that she follows through it.
Yeah, same. I'm excited about
that
kind of stuff. All right, so on to the next story. This is interesting in its own way. So Elon, last week, I think it was, offered to buy OpenAI. So first off, what do you think about that? He offered to buy for $97 billion.
I think this is a political game in a different, not in politics, but in AI world. It's political in there. I think this is a political ploy of his only, because he's got a lawsuit against him because they're violating their terms, because they were a nonprofit and they want to go profit for a for-profit now. And part of his agreement with them was that they would stay nonprofit.
Correct.
Also, in reality, they're so far behind. OpenAI is so far behind of Grok.
Yes.
You can ask Grok questions, and he just released Grok 3.
Oh, yeah.
And you can ask Grok questions, and you don't get a biased answer. You ask the same thing to ChatGPT or any of the other ones, and you get a biased answer. Ask them what they think of Trump. You get a biased answer. Ask them what you think of this, what you think of that. It's a biased answer.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I think this is more political than real.
It's not just political, it's a legal play. So in the state of Delaware, if you have a business registered there, your board of directors is required to take the highest offer on a buyout.
Really? It doesn't matter if it's a good offer or not? It's just the highest one?
You can't. So to take it from a nonprofit to a for-profit, it has to be purchased. And so what Elon did is very sly and very, very fun. He said, no one can buy it for less than $97 billion.
Okay,
so you can't just take it. You can't just take it private for real cheap because you think it's not worth a lot. No, either sell it to me for $97 billion, or someone has to pay more.
That's.
So he is playing the legal route.
So he's playing politics.
He is playing politics. He's putting them in a position where they can't do what they want to do because they shouldn't be allowed to.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't.
But a lot of people got this wrong. I've heard all kinds of comments about it. Like, well, then Grok must not be doing very well if he's trying to buy OpenAI. No.
He just wants to shut it down.
He's being real mean to them on purpose.
That's funny. I didn't know that piece of it.
So awesome. I heard, who was it listening to? I was listening to a podcast about it, and they put it out. I'm like, yes, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because the board of directors at OpenAI have a fiduciary duty to take the best offer.
That's funny.
So, yep. And so if they didn't take his offer and they sold it for less, like a lot less, he could easily sue them and get them to take his offer.
Wow.
So, don't play around with the richest man in the world.
Well, he's got some good advisors, and he seems to listen to them. And that, I guess, is the difference between like Trump and anyone else, is that they're listening to their advisors, and they've got some really sharp advisors.
They have some very smart people.
Elon went out and hired a bunch of, and I'm not kidding, they're probably 180 IQ points and above kids.
Yes.
And they are just destroying what he's given them to do. Absolutely just.
Well, and it's frustrating to me because I would love to help Doge out, but I am not going to work 80 hours a week because I have kids.
For free.
So, sadly, I don't fit this mold of you're 20 something and you're smart and you're willing to sleep in the office to do this thing because it's exciting and fun, but also you get to tell these people who've been there for 30 years.
Well, and also these kids are going to get offers to be financed to start their own business. They're going to get offers to join big corporations to do the same thing. They're going to get, Elon's probably going to hire 3/4 of them.
That's probably true. They're going to get a lot of offers. So I'm a little sad because I want to help Doge. And I have offered, I've sent some, difftes to different, so since he's opened all those pages.
So that's one thing to bring up. Some people may not know this.
I'll see if I can find it.
He'll find it. But Elon, their X page for Doge, they've opened up and asked people for how send us ideas of what to cut. And so they've created a bunch of sub pages. And if you can look right, there you go. Zoom in a little. There you go.
Well, I got to change it so they can see it. There we go.
There we go. So you can see now that we have, and they ask you for individual people, just normal people, to go in and DM them for if you have a State Department or if you have a Small Business Administration or a Department of Interior, HUD, whatever. If you know of things.
This is not a full list because I think there's a bunch more.
Yeah.
So if you keep on.
But if you know of any fraud and waste and abuse.
In any specific agency.
In any specific, they want you to DM these accounts and they will look into them.
Yes.
And so it's fantastic. Hopefully everybody gets out there, and those who work in these departments, they know of the fraud and the abuse. They need to submit it.
Oh, yeah. I've already sent some DMs in. So the other one thing I forgot to add to our list is the IRS agents getting fired. What are your thoughts on the 2,000 IRS agents getting fired?
It's not 2,000. It's like
6,000. Sorry,
it's
6,000.
Way more than that, because they're firing 1,500 in Utah. They just fired 2,000, I think, yesterday.
So the number that's been floated around is about 6,000.
Yeah. So
I know eventually it's going to get higher than that, but for now it's probably around 6,000.
He can't, with the wave of his magic scepter, Trump, he can't get rid of the IRS. That would be the best thing for this country, is to get rid of the IRS, but he can't. So can he hamstring them and stop them going after the little guy? Because they don't go after the big guys, because the big guys have lawyers and accountants and everything, so they don't go after the big guy. They go after the little guys. Can he stop? Well, this helps. Anything that reduces the ability of the IRS to come after individuals, I'm for.
Yes, I agree. Except for I don't. I agree that firing IRS agents is good because they're terrible.
Well, it's not. They're terrible, but it's not going to get any better.
There it is. Okay. Sorry, I was looking for a specific tweet. Try to talk at the same time. It's really hard. All right. So here is why the IRS is a dumpster fire that needs to be fixed, and that firing agents gives me a little trepidation because they are so bad that they need competent individuals to actually help solve problems and not create new ones. So here's this a good example. I follow a bunch of people on tax Twitter. This client of theirs got an audit notification for 2022 for something that they're doing wrong that was correctly reported to the IRS. It is the same issue that they got audited for in 2020 and was proved to be correct.
Yeah,
So my problem with them firing agents isn't that they should fire incompetents, but they are so bad at customer service that even after hiring a professional, a problem like this, she says it right here.
Yeah.
She had to go to the Congress, get the congressperson involved to get it solved, even though they were correct.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. If they do not fix this issue, it's completely
and we know it's
ridiculous.
It's
terrible
all the time. She just is the one that handled it. But can you imagine going in as an individual that has you made a deduction for something because that's the way TurboTax said, and you, not to say anything bad about TurboTax, they're
terrible. I hate them.
Well, but they're fine for simple tax things. But if you go into H&R Block or whatever, okay, fine, and you make a deduction. And even if the IRS agent is wrong in their interpretation of it,
correct,
you'll have to pay it.
Yes,
with interest and
unless you come and hire someone like me.
Yeah, unless you hire somebody that. But if I'm doing my tax return and I don't have any deductions and I don't have anything, and I make one deduction, one thing wrong, I don't have the money to pay for you. I don't have the money to pay for a lawyer, don't. And so you're just going to pay it, and that's my frustration right now. Is yes, you're correct. If the IRS could just be with the signature of a pen, magically dissipated, I would be happy. Sadly, it can't. Yeah,
And so firing people isn't going to fix it. We need someone to get in there and prioritize customer service.
Well, they did cancel. The other thing they did cancel for the IRS, they had, what was it, some $1 billion contract with the IT?
Oh, yeah.
That they were sitting on, and their IT sucks. Their IT stuff's 30 years old.
No, it's worse than that. They have, I believe, at least 3 different databases of all different versions. They don't interact with each other, and training IRS agents to try to pull data is almost impossible.
Yeah, it's stupid. Then they do it because of that. It's done that way because they can rip people off, and they can cheat, and they can steal, and there's no incentive to do it right.
There's not. But there's small things they could do to help point out the problems and fix it. So one of the things I suggested is add a phone survey to the end of every call with the IRS.
Yeah.
Just like any other large corporation you call into, where they say, if you'd like to complete a survey, please stay on the line after you finish a call.
You know what
they should do that with the IRS.
So if it's 0 to 10, 10 is the highest rating, 0 is the lowest, it would somehow come out with a negative number for the IRS.
There are some amazing IRS agents. But the amount of times I've called in the IRS and got them is like less than 5%. But
yes,
there are some amazing IRS agents.
Well, it's just like there's amazing people anywhere. You just have to get to them is the issue. There's amazing doctors.
Doing something like that makes it easy to identify the really, really bad ones, the mid ones, and the really, really good ones. And doing something like that, because there is a lot of backlog, even if they were to pass a law today to end the IRS, that would be going forward. And you would still have a backlog of crap that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And so they need to solve this. It needs to be solved. It is a dumpster fire.
I don't know if you know that I knew the head of the IRS about 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I know. I remember.
And he was not allowed to fire people.
Nope.
That was his biggest thing. He wanted to get rid of the bad performers.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Nope. Well, so Trump is showing that is completely
That's
untrue.
The one thing we didn't talk about yet is the Trump EO that brought all of the different agencies under his, it'll be challenged in court, but he's expecting that. All of these agencies that are independent, but they're in the executive branch. Agencies. Let's see what it says.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, right there. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, let me...
So these so-called independent agencies, and they're so-called just because Congress is not doing their freaking job.
Correct.
There's no management over them. And so they became independent. The Federal Election Commission. What? It's independent of anybody? The FCC? The SEC? The Federal Trade Commission? Wait a minute. They're independent and they can make law. This is the issue, is they can make law without any review. And they have.
So that did change with the current Supreme Court because they overturned the Chevron doctrine, which is a huge win for businesses. So what, if you didn't know, the Chevron doctrine was literally the company Chevron sued the federal government sued Chevron about something. And what came out of that ruling was that federal agencies can write regulations, and then those are presumed to be law in court.
It's the regulation that they write is assumed to be correct and assumed to be in line with the law, so it becomes law by default.
Yeah, so when you go to court, the judge just says, look, it said there's a regulation that says X, Y, Z. Guess we're going with that. Well, overturning the Chevron doctrine said that regulations, the agencies have to prove they are lawful before they are
implemented.
Yeah. And so that helps a lot.
But this is different.
This is a step. This is overturning Chevron was like step one, which is a massive step one. And this is step two.
Yep. So if you read this, it's the OMB, the Office of Management and Budget.
Yeah, he says it right here.
Yeah. now what has to happen is any new regulation that they want to produce has to go through the OMB, which is what it does is it looks at the cost, it looks at the benefits, it does an overview, and it has to align with Trump's plans.
Well, so one of his EOs he wrote is that for every regulation that is written, 5 have to be removed, I believe.
Something like that.
And so that would force them to do the same thing because he's pulling them under him. And so far, every single court case, I believe, I don't know if there's any that are still active. Most of them have been dismissed already.
There is a couple that are still active. There's about 15, actually.
The union one got dismissed. So he can fire union employees. He can pretty much do whatever he wants. And that's how the executive works. If I could find that video real quick, I'd pull it up of the press briefing.
Oh, the presser with Steve.
Let me see if I can find it.
Miller?
Yes.
Stephen Miller. Yeah, with Stephen Miller. I saw it actually on, if you go back, I think I saw it.
I'll find it. Give me a second.
But Stephen Miller.
Oh, actually, I can find it really quick because I commented on someone's post about it. There it is.
There it is, right there.
All right. So let me change it so you guys can see it. All right, there we go. All right, we'll listen to it. Yes. That
Does
is
anybody
correct.
feel like they were back in junior high in a civics class or the civics lesson?
You learned civics in junior high?
Well, I used to teach it, and that's funny. But
I think it's an important video because I love the press secretary because of this kind of stuff. It's like, hey guys, you're wrong because the Constitution.
Yeah, this was anyhow. So the main point of this is covering these. We got to this because we were talking about, not the previous one there. We were talking about him bringing these independent, in quotes, agencies underneath his power.
Correct.
And forcing them to obey what just Stephen Miller just said, which is he was the only Democratic elected official for the entire nation is the president.
Correct.
He has the power and should oversee these, but it has been ceded to these bureaucrats, and we need to rein them in. And so this is going to go to the courts.
And I think it's going to be an easy win by the Supreme Court.
And Trump is going to do what he did with one of the cases already, which is jump from the lower court to the Supreme Court.
Correct.
Just a rule. Just skip it. And because he has the right to do that. Because it's a federal issue, not state or even anywhere else. And so he'll do that. He'll win.
Yep.
It'll help a lot because there's a lot of this stuff, like the FTC, Federal Trade Commission.
Correct.
We need to go after our congressmen that are doing insider trading.
I see. I still disagree with that. I am in full
okay,
disagreement.
then everybody
with that.
gets to do it. I
Correct.
don't care. I don't care
am
where it is.
for that.
Everybody gets to do it, or nobody gets to do it. I don't care which one it is, but
I
it needs to be.
agree that everyone should be held to the same standard, but with that, you have to realize that Congress is going to not do certain things, and therefore, all we have to do is pass a law that says, if Congress can do it, so can everyone else.
Yep. And I agree. Yep.
Because they're going to continue to do it. They're going to write a law that makes them. It'll be like, we stopped insider trading is the law, and it says that if you do insider trading this way, then it's illegal. But if you do it this way, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I know. It's just anyhow. So this is, I think, a great thing. Now, it's a great thing. It's kind of the same situation where if you have a good president, it's a great thing. If you have a bad president, they can abuse their power. So we just need to be careful.
Well, who's the head of the House? Oh, Mike Johnson. I forget his name because he's just... Ugh. But he did state that their goal is to try to actually pass congressional bills that make all his EOs law, and that would fix...
Oh, come on, he's been in for a month. It all needs to be done.
Come on, we can't stop winning yet. It'd be funny if Trump does everything he wants in the first year he's in office, and then he just sits back and does nothing for the last 3 years, and the economy does amazing because he doesn't have to.
If he could, if he can get this stuff passed.
I mean, it looks like Ukraine and the Russian war is going to end well. Trump just announced that Zelensky agreed to his terms on the minerals deal.
It's crazy. Yeah, it'll be interesting over the next 2 weeks to see because I think he's doing this on purpose, where he's releasing things on a steady pace and not all at once. So he's released this, he got this, he's got that, he's got this, and he just keeps releasing things on this steady pace of. It's amazing.
Well, what it does is two things. One, the corporate press and the liberals is too chaotic. They can't actually get to a single narrative. They keep on throwing stuff out of there. And he's also forcing them to support the IRS, which is good job. Keep doing it. It's a winning issue. Say the IRS is great. No one hates them at all.
Well, he's picked the 80-20 issues. Somebody
with the IRS, I would say that's a 95-5 issue.
Well, okay. But they said the 80-20 issues, which is 80% is against and 20% is for, or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you do that, it's insane to fight against those, because it's
correct.
It's more than 80-20, but it's like the IRS. It's like maybe 99.99999 to the other part. It's crazy. Anyhow, I'm impressed. I'm shocked. And now watch this.
As we segue in to our ridiculous and odd segment.
Okay, you know where this came from. Let's back this up. Where this came from, the Babylon Bee, they're satire, and they do current events, and they do it faster than anybody else I've ever seen.
Well, they're satire until it's true.
Yeah, well, somebody calls them America's newspaper of record, because this stuff is just insane. But they did this right after that plane crashed in Canada and rolled over. And it's
100% correct. It's not satire at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
The issue is it's come out. Delta's still refusing to release who was the pilot, but it's come out that it's this company that only wants to have female pilots, and the pilot of that plane had got her pilot's license 1 month previous to the crash. Now, she was a small plane pilot, but she had not flown the big stuff. And you can watch that thing come in, and she just pancakes that sucker on the ground.
Yeah.
So anyhow, this came out after that.
So we'll watch this 3-minute video. No, that's apparently he doesn't want to play. Well, there we go. All right. What's funny is they got a white guy to do the video too. That was fun.
Yeah, everybody go out and follow the Babylon Bee. They're hilarious.
Yeah, they're funny.
They just, it's.
Do you know the group of people who benefit most from DEI policies?
The board of directors?
White women.
Oh, white women.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yep. They don't look at who has the most jobs as a DEI.
I'm ready to go work on Boeing planes.
Please don't. Well, you might be better than the current
It
people.
wouldn't take much, huh?
All right, so last story of the day is Norway is having some issues. A bunch of farmed salmon escaped, and now they have a bounty for fishermen to catch them.
How do you know the difference between a farm salmon and a normal salmon? They tag them?
You test their IQ. Also the ones with lice. So apparently it is a genetic issue. So the farm salmon are dumb as rocks. And so if they breed with the wild salmon, you get dumb as rocks.
And
fish,
they won't survive out in the...
So that's why they need help catching them. I've always wondered why they just don't farm salmon differently so they're not as dumb as rocks and they don't have lice issues. But that's just my thing.
I don't either.
But
that's... So how much is the bounty? Come on, you got to tell us how much the bounty is.
How much the bounty? I don't remember how much the bounty is. Let me look at it.
Come on, is it meaningful or is it just like nothing?
45 each.
Wow, that's pretty high.
It is. It's not bad.
That's actually pretty high. It says
I'm not
nearly a
going-
quarter of its supply out of one of its facilities escaped. So 27,000. Okay, so
Yeah.
so $50 a salmon. So if you take 27 in half, you basically end up with like 14,000. And so that'd be, what is it? 140,000?
Yeah, it's going to be if you could catch all 27,000, you'd make pretty good money.
Yeah. Probably more than you can sell the fish for.
Probably, yeah. So that's our ridiculous story of the day. And that's where we'll end it. Again, I'm David. This is
Jeff?
And you should like and subscribe. Also follow us on X and other platforms, and I'll throw that in the description of the video. Have a good Saturday.
Take care.